do the thing to our voices.
The upside is I think this cough medicine worked because I'm not coughing nearly as much or as bad.
Probably because your blood consists of mostly cough syrup at this point.
It's mostly just cough syrup. Hello. No, seriously, ask Lauren. My cough was bad.
Did you bump that thread in BGF?
I did not because I was way the hell down there.
You're way the hell down there, Schaefer.
Oh, fuck you.
Sorry, I was checking out the stream.
I am going down. Maybe I should just make a new one because I can't find it.
www2k15.
I feel like no one's gonna read it anyways.
Nobody is gonna read it. It doesn't matter.
Nobody cares.
It's not for them. It's for us.
Yeah, I mean, don't worry about it too much. We'll post it up later. I mean, if you're recording this,
Yeah,
as
we
well.
can just post it on the YouTubes. I forget where my XP saves.
Damn,
things.
people on Facebook just drama all the time.
Oh
All
God.
day, every
What
day.
now?
I'll talk about it later.
This is
Speaking of things, this might make you happy. Despite being getting deleted off their thing, Cristal is doing no better. She's still complaining about everything.
Who?
Well, I don't want her.
Cristal.
I don't want her to do bad. I just like it doesn't surprise me, you know.
I don't know what any
No,
of that is.
that's my point. Not that I'm laughing or making fun of the situation.
Yeah,
It's just like,
well, I mean, it is.
little things are not going to change the big things that are wrong. I just stopped on the picture of Schaefer's Minecraft island blown up heart.
Fuck that.
So I blew up. Fuck. Yes. You cocksucker.
And then
Schaefer
just
SE
logged
has
out
fantastic
for
game.
the last time in months.
Just,
Literally stop playing. Okay? This is what is wrong with multiplayer.
all right. That's enough of that. All right, I'm ready to go.
Here we fucking go. So I think just as a baseline, probably no Gamergate shit. At least not at first. Let's get popular first. That way we can make a real shitstorm.
Oh, we're
Really
playing
good.
with other
Already
people as well. We're not just doing a custom game.
Nah.
Oh, okay.
We'll do that next game.
Who am I gonna play?
Done.
Schaefer, I already called Ned.
No, you didn't.
I literally said it out loud.
But I said it in chat. Everyone knows.
I don't care what you said in chat.
Eric, it's a bot game. You can go mid with me. Who's gonna stop us?
All right.
How I wanted this to be.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Is it a
about.
bot game? I was.
It is legitimately a bot game.
Okay.
Intermediate, watch
I'm
out.
gonna try to play Yoshimitsu.
Oh boy.
Is he AD? He's ADC, isn't he?
He's AD, but not an ADC.
I don't know. I've seen him see pretty well.
No.
Yeah.
Just no.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Lauren?
You're objectively wrong.
I don't know. What do you guys think of League lately?
Fucking hate this game. Why do I play it? That's what I think.
It does seem to be fucking weird, like how it just keeps drawing you in, just forever.
I only play when there's people to play
I think the
with.
important question to ask there is it drawing you in because it's a good game, or is it
No.
the people that play it that's
It's
drawing you in?
because it's the only game
And
that Eric's
let's
computer
be
can
even
run.
more honest than that. We're playing this because I have a really terrible laptop.
Yes, that
It
is.
draws me in like the same way that cigarettes draw me in. Just like, you know,
An abusive relationship.
whenever I am not smoking one, I feel like I want to be smoking one, and then while I'm smoking it, it's sort of enjoyable, and then after it's over, like, I wonder why I do it.
That I think did you basically explain that you go through a complete addiction cycle in like 1 6-minute smoking break?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
impressive.
Well, I always feel bad after I finish smoking. You know. I would hate to be. Me and Schaefer were talking about this earlier about you, Eric, because we care about you.
Great. Here we go. We're gonna put my shit on blast and recording and nobody else's. Great.
Well, no, we were just talking about like I think all of us like probably drink a lot. I don't know, probably too much, but you especially lately, Eric. I worry, but I would hate to have you be the person who like just eventually drinks way too much and like I don't know ruins his health by doing that.
First of all, not lucky enough to die young. Second of all, yes.
Yes.
Just a bare yes to all of that.
I don't know. It's just like, because, fucking the acetaminophen and cough syrup is really bad for you if you're drinking with it as well. Like, if you
I'm
do it
doing
one.
none of those things. This doesn't contain acetaminophen.
The previously stated statement begs to
This is
differ.
actual real cough syrup.
Like Robitussin?
Yeah, for a cough.
Well, I mean, NyQuil's for a cough too, but the APAP in it is, like, it's bad for your liver. And so is alcohol, and like when you put them together, it's just like multiplication effect.
Oh, Roger. Yeah, no, I got scared of that exact thing, so I got actual real cough medicine.
Wow. Does it have like codeine in it and stuff?
Yeah, it's the prescribed. My doctor was like, "Your cough sounds terrible. It's almost pneumonia." And I was like, "Oh."
It's weird that you've had that for so long. Like mine was there for like 2 weeks, and then.
Well, it probably didn't help that the kids brought it home and then they all had it.
And they just kept coughing in your mouth. Like,
yeah, they're like, let's cough directly in your face. Oh, is this the keyboard and mouse you use regularly? Allow me to lick it.
When I was working at roller coasters, I was, what I do is like, I just flashed.
That was the best flash ever.
I'll bite my tongue and stick it between my lips while I'm going around. And then this kid, I bent down to check his seatbelt, and he coughed directly in my face, and I was just like,
I would have just discreetly given that kid a fucking dead leg. Like, super discreetly, just, this isn't fastened correctly, thud. Don't ever cough on me, or I will unbuckle you mid-roller coaster.
I'm surprised Schaefer didn't do that to the guy who said his face was not cute.
I should have done that. Okay, done. You're gonna take his level 2. You can solo blue.
This Swiggity Swain has no clue. He'll never know.
Well, also he's a bot, so
that's why he doesn't know.
Oh, there's two top. Oh wait, this is a bot game. I was like, oh, they're kind of doing a different strategy. That's certainly one thing I don't like about this game is how much people like. If you don't do the meta, then people freak the fuck out.
Yeah, people are robots.
You don't find that in many games. Like in StarCraft 2, there's like a bunch of different strategies you can do.
Well, the thing with StarCraft is anything is viable if you play it correctly, but even in League, like the way that they balance it is something's counter thing is way too hard to where it's not viable.
Well, now too, they're branching out where they have new mechanics. You have Rek'Sai, who basically has a teleport ability for his ultimate.
Yeah.
Callista can now move and bash at the same time.
No bash.
Eric, I'm gonna have you turn off your cell phone during a broadcast.
What?
Turn off your cell phone, homo. We're broadcasting.
Don't refer to me like that.
This is professional.
You cisgendered male.
Super professional.
I like how in bot games they give you a radius on the turret just in case you're bad.
Ah, fuck.
How else do people learn, Schaefer? It's like you're some sort of idiot.
By getting good. I'm also lagging a little bit.
By getting good.
Oh, you know what? It's probably because I'm streaming and recording locally.
Elise, my frames keep dropping. It's like that time you got negative frames and
went back in time.
I was going back in time.
See, there's a good game. Diablo 2 by Blizzard before they started sucking ass.
Before Activision bought them.
And in what way did they suck ass?
Activision bought them.
And I'm not saying because I don't agree. I'm just saying, like, for people who may disagree with you listening to this.
They stopped caring about their games.
Well, what happened was, like, and you can track this with their games as well, because their games immediately started dropping off in quality as soon as Activision bought them. Like, just look at World of Warcraft. I think most people would agree that, like, World of Warcraft probably peaked around Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah.
Or even, like, Burning Crusade. And then after that, like, nobody cares. Especially with when Mists of Pandaria came out, which I think was their first fully, like, under Activision during development and everything.
No, Cataclysm was too. Activision bought them at the end of Wrath.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Although I don't think Activision wasn't there
Well,
for
it
the
might have been in
complete
development before.
Yeah,
they bought.
but they were there to call the shots towards the end. So
yeah. But anyway, so if it's really cool actually, if you look at like the concept art for their games before Activision bought them, especially in like the 90s and stuff like that, like Warcraft 2 days, a little bit of Warcraft 3, certainly in the Diablo games. Look at the concept art for that on like Google Images.
it's amazing.
And you'll see like their shit was pretty brutal. Like it had people like being decapitated, like heads on spikes shit, like kind of Game of Thrones style brutal shit with people getting wrecked.
Yeah.
And then especially in the Mists of Pandaria.
Kind of went more towards the
Well,
kid
it was
friendly.
like it went from like R to PG-13, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
That seems to be a thing that's happening in all games.
yeah.
In a lot of different genres.
People are
right
definitely
now.
toning things down, like difficulty, and I mean, not to be this guy, but they're kind of catering to more casual players.
Well, I mean, I hate to say it, but that's the market.
Yeah,
You know? I mean, you want the widest base of people who are going to pay for it. And as much as hardcore, finger quotes, hardcore gamers say, oh, the casual nature of game development nowadays is starting to piss me off. It's like, but you're still buying it. So there's still a market for it. They're not alienating anybody because you're still going to buy Skyrim. You know what I mean?
I feel like the big reason most people say that is purely nostalgic reasons. Like, oh, I remember when games were real hard. You didn't have to. You couldn't look up guides.
It's funny we were talking about this because I was just talking to Mayor on Facebook. I hope I'm saying his name right. Sorry,
shout out to Murr.
Yeah, shout out to Murr and the rest of the VGF family. But we'll get to that. Yeah, no, it's like back in the day. It seems like games were just generally more difficult. Like he was playing the original Fallout games, like 1, 2, and Tactics, and they were fucking harder. Like they legitimately were quite difficult. I was playing Might and Magic 6
during deportation.
I reinstalled it because of Seth, but that's a real fucking hard game. Like very difficult.
Yeah, you gotta set your party right down.
Extremely challenging. Like unlike other open world games like Skyrim, where you're pretty much free to travel wherever you want. There's level scaling, so even if you fight like a finger quotes tough like enemy, it's still not very hard because he's scaled to level 1, you know.
Yeah.
But in Might and Magic 6, there's 0 level scaling. Enemies are as hard as they are throughout the whole game, which means if you travel to like an end game zone, then you're gonna get totally wrecked because they're like level 100 monsters.
Yeah. Does the same goes for Fallout, right? Nothing really scales to level in Fallout games. Like my friend told me that the death claws are just ridiculously hard the entire time.
In the original games?
No, I'm talking Fallout 3 in New Vegas.
Oh yeah. Well, there is level scaling in Fallout, but it's not that bad.
Not like Skyrim.
Yeah, not like Oblivion. Like Oblivion had it the worst. Me and Eric were talking about that a while ago, where it was like you'd find a highwayman or something when you got to like level 20 or 30, and he would have full Daedric armor. He'd just be a bandit on the side of the road, you know, just a regular.
Like some poor guy who turned to a life of crime because he had no appreciable skill. Daedric armor, hello, also here.
Here to ruin your day.
Yeah, I hate level scaling. I think it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, I did that in Oblivion, because I remember in one of the holds there was this orc that would take you on a quest or whatever, but the armor would scale, and at one point I think, because I was going with light armor, I think it was glass at one point, and that was the best light armor you could get, I believe. And I just waited and then picked that thing up every time I would go through that game.
Yeah. Well, it also kind of breaks the game a little bit because say you want to play a character who's like really into alchemy and he likes to sneak and has a bunch of like utility abilities, but not really any warrior or like direct damage spells.
Yeah.
Board and board.
Yeah, he doesn't really have any of like the skills that the game wants you to take. So then you go and like you might be level like 10 and you've been investing a lot into alchemy and sneak and stuff, and that's really cool. But you come toe to toe with like a scaled enemy to level 10. If you don't have sword and board or like some kind of destruction magic, then you're just gonna get wrecked because they scale to level. They don't scale to your abilities.
Like that comic that goes
Absolutely.
around.
And I think, kind of touching back on what you were saying, Lauren, is that it breaks immersion.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm a highwayman. I'm so poor, I have to bash you to get money. Oh, but don't worry, though, because I frickin' have Daedric armor that I could literally sell and have no more problems with money.
Forever.
Are you joking me right now? How did you even?
Are you joking me right
like
now?
he could sell his armor and that would be it. He'd be fine.
Yeah, no, exactly. Absolutely.
The last open world Elder Scrolls game that was truly hard, I believe, was Morrowind.
Yeah, Morrowind had some parts that were definitely kind of tricky.
I've never played it myself, but I heard it had a lot more D&D kind of mechanics, like spells would fizzle, and there was a little higher chance of missing and all of that, wasn't there?
Yeah, and just like some, I like the environment in Morrowind a lot more. It wasn't like as high fantasy. It was more like, I don't know. It's like a different environment, almost like an alien world. A lot of it. I thought it was more original than Oblivion and Skyrim, which is just kind of.
I'm gonna go out and just admit that I have not played Morrowind. I'm the one guy in the world who has not played that game.
I also haven't. I just said that I didn't play Morrowind.
Yeah, it's some games that I really like from back in the day are kind of hard to get into now, unfortunately, just because they're so dated.
Yeah, like I tried to play Oblivion. I have it on Steam, and it's just like the UI is so bad. You have to mod it insane amounts for it to be playable.
Absolutely, one of the first posts that I made in VGF was that mod community that is making Morrowind in the Skyrim engine for PC. I believe it's called Skywind.
Yeah.
And I would totally be into playing Morrowind again in that way. I think it would appeal a little bit more to me. But even if I couldn't, even if I was forced to play the old version of it, I think I would. So far for me, it's just been a matter of I ain't doing that right now. I have other priorities than that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of HD mods now that make it pretty good, but you know, you can't get away from the fact that it's an older game. Like, some parts just aren't really fixable. Like, there's not voice acting, there's voice acting, but not for, like, the majority of characters. It's just, like, reading and stuff like that. But, yeah, I don't know. I still think Morrowind's probably one of my favorite games.
Oblivion will always
I
be
got
one of my
bashed by
favorites.
so many towers.
I think everybody has their favorite, like, Elder Scrolls.
Yeah. I think Skyrim, while being largely favorited by a lot of people, are actually one of the worst Elder Scroll games because...
Oh, yeah?
I don't know, the level scaling makes leveling completely pointless. It has the most redundant and pointless stories. I mean, the last boss... I'm not going to say any spoilers, but the last boss was more than disappointing. And after a while, the dragons just become a nuisance, not like an epic thing, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, and there's... I don't know, it's like the dragons were never really a threat in Skyrim. They didn't really seem to be, like, boss fights on the same level that anything in, like, Dark Souls would be, you know? Where it's like, you find a boss in Dark Souls and it's like a serious threat. Almost any of them.
You're like, shit.
Even minor, like, mini-bosses, like...
Capra Demon, I remember I had trouble with that.
I was just gonna say, Capra Demon, like...
I beat that game like 5 times, and that boss killed me at least once every time.
Or the first time you play, and he kills you, like, 7 times.
Oh, yeah, I remember trying to kill that guy for that key.
They can't take top.
Then you get to, like, the pits, and it's like, you have to fight, like, 27 of them.
Oh, I know. You're just like, well... I'm in hell.
Here's something that I've always thought about Skyrim, because that Schaefer's view is pretty popular, I would say. The thing with it is, like, the very design of it, the very nature of that game took away from what those games are supposed to be about. Like, oh, go to Iverstead and talk to so and so. This thing is literally pointing me where to go. There is no
Yeah.
explanation
It doesn't-
needed. There is no exploration needed.
It-
So what's the point?
Yeah.
You know, like what is the point? And yes, you can turn it off, but the fact that they made the UI so that you would have to turn it off, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well,
There's-
see, that's
yes, I can turn it off and have a deeper experience, but maybe that should be something that's off by default rather than something that is on by
Yeah.
default.
Well, that's what I liked about another thing I liked about Morrowind is like there was fast travel, but you had to get to like a hub, like you had to get to one of the main cities because they had the Silt Striders and they were like the means of fast transport. Like it was you paid for it, and they fast traveled not to anywhere on the map. Like you couldn't go to the city that was across the continent. You'd have to stop at other cities and then talk to the Silt Strider there, and then just kind of go from there. But it wasn't like this thing where you just clicked on the map and then you could go wherever you wanted.
Yeah, the way those games are set up, it's just really makes it so easy to avoid exploration. And I mean, they put so much. Well, in Skyrim, they put almost no work into the exploration part. All the caves were the same. All of the buildings were the same. Everything was just copy pasted, and it was also quite disappointing.
I can barely hear you guys on my end, so I'm turning up my Skype volume and turning everything else down.
Well, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know. Definitely interesting times for Grames right now.
Yeah.
Well, that it is this console generation for those people who enjoy consoles rather than PC is something that's unprecedented. I mean, this issue of parity, oh well, eventually parity's not going to be a thing. There's only going to be next gen games. Well, that's fine, but has there been as dramatic a leap in the console tech since last year? And there's a lot of people out there who are saying, oh well, it just hasn't happened yet. Developers are still getting used to the tech. Of all the console generations I've seen so far, this has been the one with the least amount of
games.
Impressive differences to the old tech.
Yeah.
It's like
we went from Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, to
PlayStation
N64
1.
and PlayStation 2. Those were huge leaps.
Yeah,
So you had games
Nintendo 64 was like
PlayStation
massive.
1 era. You got the little error that's wrong. PlayStation 2 was GameCube era. Just to clear that up. He said N64 and PS2. I was just those aren't in the same era.
No. I know what you mean, because when people talk about like, oh well, what's a must-have game for a PlayStation 4, and I think the first thing that comes to people's minds is GTA 5, which is not a PlayStation 4 release. It is released
on last gen. It was just
it was a last gen game, and the only other ones I can think of are Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, which was that also released on the last.
It was.
Okay, so now we have two must-haves that are last gen.
All of the good games, even the mediocre games like Destiny, all the big AAA titles are on current and last gen games or consoles.
Yeah. And then you have games like Far Cry 4, which I think is current gen. But
no, that was also released, wasn't
really?
Was it not? I believe it was.
I'm not positive. I would have
well,
to check.
Even if it wasn't, it's like okay, so that's what we got. Assuming Far Cry 4 is this current gen, which I'm not even sure if it is. You got one game that's like a must-have. That's
well, I haven't heard.
It's a pretty generic shooter. It's like
I still haven't heard many awesome things about Far Cry. Honestly, I think they're pretty under or overrated games. Not personally, but I mean, people say they're super great. People say, "Oh, it's like Skyrim with guns," as if Skyrim was a great game in the first place. I mean, in its own, maybe it was.
I don't even think it's that. I think Fallout is Skyrim with guns, but
yeah. Well, technically, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, same company and everything.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I think the games are completely incomparable. They're two different genres, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, I thought
Eric, let's get this.
The very first Far Cry game was excellent. Then Far Cry 2 kind of sucked.
Far Cry 3 was really good. I liked it. I didn't beat it, but it It was pretty good from what I
Yeah,
played.
that's what I heard.
Jackson.
But yeah, you don't have any games that are being released right now that are just like like super like be all end all games like Pokemon might have been, or
Well,
where's like the golden eye of our generation?
yes,
Yeah.
and that was more my point. More what I was trying to get to is like take an open world game. N64, the quintessential open game that nobody heard of, was called Body Harvest. It was actually made by the precursors of the people who make GTA nowadays.
Rockstar?
You could get in, yeah, you could get into different vehicles, including flying vehicles. It was a really great game. I had a lot of fun with it. When we jumped from that open world to Grand Theft Auto 3, that was a huge leap. Before that, we jumped from Mario to Mario 64, a 3D game. I have not seen that from this console generation, something that is so different. Yes, we have GTA 5. Oh, snap, you can be in first person. It's like, where is the Mario 64?
Yeah, and
You
I
know,
also think that has a lot to do with just like we're stuck in this really weird time with video games right now, where it's kind of like going through its teenage years, where it's trying to figure out like what it wants to be. And if you take any old game, even one that's supposed to have pretty good writing, like Dragon Age, for example, maybe not great writing, but like I don't think anybody says like, oh, Dragon writing is, piss poor. Generally, it's considered to be a AAA role-playing game, which usually means that the characters are pretty well fleshed out. But if you take that and you compare it to any like TV show that's on like HBO or anything like that, compare the characters. They're very like different, and that's why I had a lot of trouble getting into Dragon Age and shit, because there's a bunch of little nuances, and I don't know if it's just BioWare, but I have trouble getting into it. When you see a character like Morrigan, for example, when you first find her in the original
from
game,
Dragon Age.
yeah,
Origins.
Origins, yeah, you find her in the swamp, and you can immediately tell what kind of character she's gonna be.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is the typical like BioWare archetype. She's the badass girl who doesn't really care about morality. And I just kind of found myself sort of bored already with her, because I know exactly how she's going to react in every situation. I know essentially what she's going to say. And it's the same for every character. It's the same for Alistair. It's the same for Sten, once you figure him out.
Yeah,
But you don't get that. Like, if you turn on Mad Men on HBO, which I think is a really good show, you look at some of the characters on there, like Pete Campbell or somebody like that, who's for the people who don't watch the show, he's kind of the antagonist, at least in the first season of the show. But his motivations are really muddled, and like he's kind of an ambitious guy, and his views are certainly very similar to the protagonist Don Draper, but he just doesn't seem to have the power, which is really interesting. He's kind of like the same character, but he doesn't have the power of Don Draper. Like, he cheats on his wife and stuff, and he does all this bad stuff, but so does Don Draper. So you have like this dichotomy of like what's good, what's bad, and these people are very much defined by their motivations and like what drives them, and like money and power and ties to their loved ones and so on. But you don't have that in video games, because like characters like Morgan or Sten or Alistair are defined by their attributes and not their personalities. Like Morgan is very obviously defined as like the chick who's badass. She doesn't take any shit. Alistair is like the sarcastic guy. Oh, we won.
Take that, robots. No Skynet today.
I think it's a little complicated to do better writing in video games because of the amount of interaction that you have with the characters.
Yeah.
And it's hard to throw those little twists and turns. I mean, people
my
could do it,
knee-jerk
but
reaction to what you just said, Shaver, my knee-jerk reaction was no. and then I thought about what you were actually saying. You look at games that won, game of the year, like the Walking Dead games. And those have really well-written characters, but it's not really there's a lot of linearity there. So
Yeah.
so maybe there's something to that. Maybe the medium of video games doesn't allow to have really deep characters. But
Schaefer, you should make this a custom
Yeah,
game.
I'm doing that.
Okay, cool. Go ahead, Eric.
I got a little bit sidetracked there. My
Yeah,
bad.
you were saying the Walking Dead.
Right. You have these really well written characters, Lee, Clementine, Kenny, that actually go through these transformations and
Hey, let's just have it
And-
be us three versus the comps.
Okay.
And make them intermediate. Let's see how we do. Sorry, Eric.
boy.
I keep interrupting you.
you jerk. You have these really well written characters, Lee Everett, Clementine, so on and so forth, that go through these transformations as the games go on. Kenny in the second season was, although the core of who that character is was still there, he had gone through a massive transformation. That really seems to decline the more that I forgot who we were going up against.
You can go mid. I'll take bot. You'll probably end up with Fiddle, or yeah. I don't know.
Fuddle Stonks.
It'll be a surprise for everyone. I don't know who to play.
I think I'm gonna try to be Zed. I was gonna be Katarina, but
The rivers will run
might be
red.
Yeah, that's really interesting, Eric, because like a lot of shit doesn't have that. Like, Dexter's
Well-
another TV show that's like I don't think it's the best written TV show. Especially in later seasons, it got pretty bad, but it was definitely extremely like intriguing to see what like a sociopath would probably go through, and very few games talk about that. Like Baldur's Gate did it pretty good, where you're chasing this guy down like because he's he's like threatening a lot of people, but it brings up the question like, well, look how many people you've killed trying to get to him, and maybe you're worse. Like Call of Juarez did that a little
Rest
bit.
is
Yeah.
for the living.
Some other stuff, but it doesn't really question like the morality or like the thought process of.
absolutely. And I hate to bring this game up because while I think it's good that it can be created, I have no personal interest in the game. Hatred.
Yeah.
Hatred has an ability
Yeah, back-
to delve into issues like mental illness or social problems or things like that, but and not that they're required to either. If they want to make a game solely, let's just bash as many people as possible and get a score for it, that's fine. But you can take these games, and my original point was, before we kind of got lost on the tangent, is you have these games where you may not have the most well-written characters, but there can be ways, I think, that developers can fill that space. For instance, Mass Effect 1, there was a lot of minute details in that game that made it a believable universe. I remember turning it on for the first time and creating my character, and the computer gets corrupted, and that's why you have to make the shepherd that you want to make.
was
That made a
really
lot
cool
of sense.
detail.
Just little things like walking around the bridge and ensigns are saluting you, and
Yeah.
junior grade lieutenants are saluting you, or
And,
when you leave. And you leave the ship, and the ship announces the commander has gone ashore. XO Presley has the deck.
Yeah,
That's outstanding. That's little things like that say this world is
And-
more than
Yeah,
this cardboard
definitely.
box panorama that I get to walk around in.
And another thing I really liked about that is the characters seem more well-rounded. Like when you first meet Ashley and Kaiden, they're very much like military folks. And being in the military, like I can definitely tell. Like if you flirt with Ashley, then you start to engage in the romance with her later on in the game. She brings up the regulations against fraternization because she's an enlisted and you're, I guess, an officer, which kind of changes because you become a Spectre. But the point is. She brings it up, which is really cool because that's actually something that happens in real life. Like, hey, we can't do this. Like, real life, and she's kind of joking about it since you become a Spectre and you're not really in in the military in that game anymore. But I think it's a really cool detail because like that's totally how it is. Like
and to take what you're saying one step further, and absolutely I agree with what you're saying. To take that one step further, your background mattered. There was random events and certain quest lines that would happen based on your background.
Yeah.
And that was never really followed through with in any of the other iterations of the game. And I know a lot of people want to bash Casey Hudson on that, oh, well, they changed the writer to Casey Hudson and he's terrible. I think that could happen just changing writers in general. I don't think that that's specifically something that happens because it was Casey Hudson or wasn't Casey Hudson. The writers change. There is going to be a change in the feel of the story. And do I agree with it? Absolutely not. I don't agree with it. I thought that was a terrible decision to change writers mid staff like that, or mid trilogy like that.
Yeah.
But
well, I guess what happened was in the first one they had just that writer. What was his name? You said it.
I'd have to look it up. The original writer. I know Casey Hudson was the one who took.
Well, I learned this from V, so take it with a grain of salt. But there was one writer for the first game, then the writer and another writer were working on the second game, and then the last game was just that writer who was helping him on the second game. And it's funny, I wonder if this is like going back to what we were saying about some games being rated R, like, not really. They're not actually rated R, and that there's not a system like that. But I wonder if some producers see like the writing on the wall and they're like, okay, we can make we can sell 4 million units if we have this sort of like hardcore narrative, but we can sell 8 million units if we have sort of this more PG-13 style writing. And,
I would say absolutely. And the reason that I would say that is no retailer carries adult-only games. AO ratings do exist on the game's rating scale. You never see it.
It's like NC-17 for movies. You never see it.
Right.
It exists, but nobody ever touches it because it's, bad for business, I guess.
Absolutely. And, I have for a long time waited for the game that's going to tread into AO territory. The only one that I could think of that did it was Grand Theft Auto San Andreas after the hot coffee mod was found. They got raised up to an AO level, and carriers stopped selling the game outright. They were just like, nah, we're not doing this, which they have every right to do that, so on and so forth.
That's a different.
But that wasn't a conscious decision by that team at the time. I'm waiting for the game that really takes it to the next level, and not just because they can. Yeah. Because that's what the story demands as an AO rating.
That's what Hatred. I don't know if Hatred's rated AO. Probably not. But that's what Hatred is, and I really don't like it because it's sort of like it seems like
try hard, a little edgy.
Oh yeah, super all of that, and anyone with a brain can see like I don't. It's retarded. I don't think it should stop it from being released, but, shit, I'm about to kill him. Nice. I don't think that should stop it from being released, but it's just everything bad about video games. Maybe not everything bad, but it's provocative. It's intentionally provocative. And not only is that reinforce everything that's bad with plot lines in video games and stuff, but it also gives us a bad name in like the larger political sense that video games cause mass shootings and all that shit. That I guarantee you, after Hatred is released, there's going to be another wave like we see every couple of years of somebody's kid gets killed, and then the media looks into the killer's past and it's like, oh, he played Hatred, which is just a game about killing people. And
I agree with what you're saying in a sense with Hatred. Yes, it is a game that's made to be provocative. That was why I was very careful to word my statement the way that I did. Something intentionally and importantly provocative. To me, and not knowing anything about it, I tend not to read game reviews because I find that tends to spoil my enjoyment of games. So I don't know much about Hatred other than the little bit that was leaked when it first came out. Yeah. But I don't see that being a thought-provoking experience, really. I think you could read into it whatever you want. Indoctrination theory of Mass Effect 3's ending. Yeah, that could have been a real thing,
That was really, I don't. Like, even though I think that I don't agree with it, I think it's kind of silly, but I like the fact that people get so involved in it that they can come up with these super complex plots. And I don't think BioWare planned it because I don't think they're that smart, especially like at that point in their career. Did they also get bought out by EA? I think they did.
Yeah. Everything they produce or everything they develop is produced by EA.
Do you know when they got bought out by EA?
I'm not positive, but I know it was somewhere around Dragon Age Origins. Before
Oh, that would make sense then.
Yeah.
But anyway, nice. Yeah, it's just kind of like, yeah, they weren't smart enough to make a plot like that, I don't think. But I like the fact that people got so into it that they said, "Whoa, this is a thing." But it's also ironic because Mass Effect 3's plotline was so bad that they had to come up with excuses for why everything was the way it was, you know. But yeah.
Yeah. People can read. My point being that people can read into it whatever they want to read into it. But, is that necessarily as good as having it? Where's the Charles Dickens of video games?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, where's the Shakespeare of video games? I don't think that's been found yet. And I'm sure there's games out there where people are like, this came close. I know one game that you always speak very highly of, I've not played it, is Vampire Bloodlines. I've heard nothing but very good things about the writings in that game and the atmosphere that it built.
Yeah.
And I would like to experience that. I would like games to get a little bit more into that. And there's this big division in video games between gameplay and story. What's more important? Is gameplay more important than story? For my 2 cents, I like there to be some meaning to my games. I like to see that.
I think that
I want to know why my character is doing what my character is doing.
I think that depends a lot on the genre that you're playing. Like when I play MMOs, and I am a huge fan of MMOs, the story is completely irrelevant to me. Like if it's good, that's great. I'll pay attention to it. I'll look at lore later. But like when I'm leveling up and I'm going through it.
That's also true. But in MMOs, I think a lot of the time you create your own storylines in the way that you got guilds and you have a bunch of people like talking to each other, and some people are role playing in it, and then you kind of like create this weird sort of reflection of society where you're in a guild, but like some of the people meet in real life, they talk to each other, and there's like inter-guild drama, and not only that, but you can like become real close friends. Like you had these things that were going on for a while at the height of WoW, and they might still be, but you had these people who got so into the game, and they met in the game, like these couples, guys and girls and stuff like that. They'd fall in love with each other, and they would get married in the game. Like they might not even know each other in real life, but they got so into their game that like the characters married each other.
Disregard that ping, sorry.
Absolutely, yeah, that's another way. I mean, but me personally, and I know a lot of people who don't like the role-playing fact of, I know the role-playing games, but like, people who like more of the killing things part of the game more than the role-playing. I know that people don't really pay attention to the story that was made for them, because people who are a fan of MMOs don't really care about that stuff. They care about interacting with other players and the means of getting a huge challenge done, like finishing a raid as fast as possible with, the least amount of fuck-ups as possible.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's definitely a very different like feeling in MMOs. I don't really know how to describe it. But,
yeah. You came in with no health
I can
and
also
died.
totally feel what Eric's saying. Like, certain games seem to have these really compelling stories that you can get into, and you can.
I hate to say it. Halo. I'm gonna be the guy that brings up
Halo. The first
Halo
three Halo games had, even Halo Reach had great story. I love those.
Absolutely, it had a very deep lore. I was one of the few people who read most of the books that came out when Bungie was in charge.
I have a Shrine of Honor.
It had a very compelling lore that did not come across in the game.
Oh yeah,
And even when you played the games after reading the books, I had a little bit more information about Sergeant Avery Johnson and John's childhood and Elizabeth Halsey, but there was, if you were only into it for the gameplay of it, you would never know. There was never hints. There was never nods of the head.
Yeah,
I didn't
even know there was more than one book until someone told me. Like the story that you see in the games is just a fraction of the story that comes with Halo.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And in the development of Halo, so much was left out. For instance, and in my head, this is like the coolest level, but of course, we always build it up in our own heads. But the storyline of meeting the Gravemind for the first time in Halo 2, there was supposed to be a whole level surrounding that and how that worked, and all that important. Yes. Yes!
Could you not
Sorry,
take
we're
all of my
bashing.
kills?
I'm taking every kill.
You son of a bitch.
God
I am
damn,
sad.
what's
This
going
is
on
my-
down there?
We bashed them.
We bash.
Nunu came bot,
I
so.
thought we agreed no bash.
No bashing.
But
Halo
what
had a
was it?
really deep lore, and they had this one level where you were supposed to be venturing through the bowels of Delta Halo, and you were to see these tentacles. I kind of feel like it was reminiscent of Gears of War when you saw the giant worm for the first time.
This is during the flood chapter, correct?
Yes. Yeah. And you were supposed to see the tentacles were supposed to come out with you, and you're supposed to see them rushing by, and the Gravemind was taunting you the whole time. That would have been an amazing level, I think. But then again, I am one of those people who I am fascinated by the lore. It not that I can't play a game for just the gameplay, because I certainly can, but I do like to know what the motivations are. Why? Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have games like, and I say this having not played it, so I could be walking into a deadly trap of critiquing a game I haven't played, but Metal Gear Revengeance.
That game was.
It's like, why?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think
Why?
that's a really interesting point because I hear nothing but good things about Revengeance.
have
But
I'm
not.
sure
on
it's a
the other
great game.
hand-
I'm sure it's very fun.
It's a very atypical Metal Gear game because
Yes.
Metal Gear is always almost about like the very deep stories. I think in Metal Gear Solid 2, there's something like a 45-minute cutscene where you're not really
Yeah.
near the end when you're with
Yes.
Solidus, and it's sort of like the epilogue of the story and everything.
Oh God, Schaefer Bot can never fall.
And that's sort of the joke with Metal Gear Solid is it's almost like a movie that you play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Revengeance came out, and it was all about the gameplay. It was all about like well, Schaefer can probably speak more to this, but it was very much about like kind of like a God of War situation almost, sort of light on the story, but awesome like gameplay, great fighting mechanics.
Fucking damn you, Eric.
Look
So
at this. Mundo
atypical.
doesn't know what to do.
Atypical for like Metal Gear Solid, but still really good. So.
Yeah. Well, as someone that's played Metal Gear Rising, is what it was called in America.
Ah,
Revengeance was the original name, but they changed it because Revengeance sounded dumb.
Revengeance.
That game had some great gameplay. I mean, it had its flaws. Every game does, and the story. You are correct in the fact that it is a typical Metal Gear game. There's definitely a story. It's about this the PMCs in America trying to dominate the global market and cause a nuclear war in order to up their sales.
So Call of Duty Advanced Warfare sans Kevin Spacey.
I think it came out before Advanced
Yeah,
Warfare.
it came out
didn't
like 2 years before Advanced Warfare. But
I'm slightly inebriated, so take that.
Yeah, we all are, homie.
But yeah, there's a storyline there, and you can take it or leave it. I mean, I enjoyed it.
Okay, but was the
Wasn't bad.
storyline?
It
As I
wasn't the
understand it,
highest point of the game.
Guns of the Patriots was kind of followed that same thing. But was the storyline really needed, or was it something that was tacked on after the fact to justify the gameplay?
Honestly,
In your opinion, as somebody who played it,
I think that the story was just something that they came up with that is completely unrelated to anything that has to do with the actual Metal Gear storyline.
oh dear.
Like, how all of Solid Snake's games are related in one way or another? All of the characters, the entire story in this game were completely manufactured at the time of development.
But they were still like. Do you
Completely.
think the characters were pretty cool?
I thought the bosses in that game were amazing. Like,
Yeah.
they were really challenging, I felt, on harder difficulties. I think there were difficulties. I don't know. I know my first time through, and one that still got me the second time through was, I think his name was... I forget. There's this boss who's like chunks of metal. And well, the thing with this game is like each boss was kind of like an element sort of thing. One of them was wind. One of them was like I think he was Typhoon.
Etsu's Ghostblade.
He was Typhoon, and what happened when you tried to attack this guy was he would evade because his body consisted of bits of metal armor connected by lightning, electricity, electromagnetic stuff. And
Whoa.
that was one of the hardest bosses, and like he goes really in depth because like before you're talking, minor spoilers ahead, so you might want to skip. When you're talking to this guy before the fight, he's talking like because you know Raiden's story, right? Like how he was in the Cold War and he was like brutal. They called him Jack the Ripper.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's explained in MGS2, I think.
Yeah.
Well, it's touched on anyway.
Yeah,
Snake Plissken.
Typhoon brings this up and he refers to it. And before you fight this guy, Raiden gets pissed and goes into like the Ripper mode is what it's called. It's like his I don't know if you guys played
Alter ego.
Onimusha. Yeah, it's his alter ego, and he just gets fucking pissed and goes ham. But I mean, the way that the boss brings this out of you, because he just really pisses Raiden off, and Raiden's like, you know what, I'll give him a taste. I thought that was amazing. Like, normally in most games I play, I'm like, alright, I don't really need to see all the cutscenes, but I was sucked into that one in particular.
I'm glad that they did something with that.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of, and it seems like most people weren't. I was not a fan of Raiden at all.
Oh, in the second game, I was like, okay, Raiden kind of sucks, but in Rising, holy crap, he's my hero.
Well, I hate to
He's a
say it, but
beast.
like he's Gray Fox because Gray Fox got bashed.
Yeah, he got
You know,
that.
like I would have loved to have played as Gray Fox. He was such a mysterious character in Metal Gear Solid. That it was everybody waited for the VR missions to come out because there was a couple in there where you could play as the ninja. But I don't know. It seemed like Raiden is there to fill that niche and to be super angsty while he does it.
Yeah. He's definitely like the teenager character of MGS2.
I did think that they MGS2 set him up to be what he was in Rising because at the end you get the sword. And you hack and slash people.
No slashing.
But the way that they handled Rising was, I think they were trying to branch out Raiden's story into a different kind of genre because it was hack and slash. It was the stealth in that game was almost completely irrelevant. There was no.
Well,
point
that's
to
what
it.
was funny. I remember I played the. Oh, you're gonna do that, huh? Are we doing that right now? Okay.
I was doing it, but now I'm not.
The thing about it was like I thought it was funny that game even maintained the. Stealth meter, where it goes from 0 to 100%, which is an alert status.
Yeah.
It's like they can see you from 300 years away, and you're really gonna put that in there.
In that game, I will just cut them.
Yeah, it's like they see me from forever away. It's a meaningless metric for them to even have that. Which, I'm not a developer, but I would have thought if you were gonna have that game, a Metal Gear Solid game like that. Why not just have it stealth-based? That would have been so much more neater. Yes, I understand it's OP to have the mechanical nanobot-fueled ninja from hell bashing everybody's spine out and then ingesting the material because it fuels their hatred. I get it. It's OP. But that whole game's premise seemed to be built on OP.
Well, there were certainly these just common enemies that could give you a run for your money if you weren't careful.
Like Dark Souls.
It just seems like a reskinned Ninja Gaiden with less difficulty.
I liked the game was difficult on its own. It had its own. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the Ninja Gaiden games ever since I played Sigma. But I don't know. The game. I don't think they were trying to do a Ninja Gaiden. They were trying to do a hack and slash to bring Raiden back. They were trying to give Raiden his own character because after Metal Gear Solid 2, he was gone. That was
okay.
it.
Well,
People
if
were like,
that's
Raiden?
the case, I'm going to make one comment and say they couldn't even make a normal Metal Gear game on him.
Well, like I said before, I think they were just trying to kind of branch out, see how people would take it, and I think people took it well, and I hope they do make another game about it.
Well, they've been doing a lot like that. They had Ground Zeroes as well, which was...
I thought Ground Zeroes was really awful, although it was kind of...
I think that was the general opinion. Not that
Yeah.
it was awful, but just kind of like, what is this?
Yeah, I thought the stealth was just bad. Like, I couldn't... The way that the camera was set up, I couldn't see anything. I didn't know where any guards were, so they saw me. And again, they can see you from miles away. So...
From 4,800 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting times. Yeah. Shout out to VGF.
Again,
Second shout out to VGF. Hello, also here.
Yeah.
I was gonna.
How do you
Oh
guys
yeah.
feel? How do you guys feel about the group right now?
I think it's kind of coming into its own.
It's
Yeah, a
not
little
what
bit.
we wanted it to be, but it's something else.
I don't know. I still think it has like some problems sometimes. Like what I really
I
like.
hear all the moderators and admins are dicks.
Yeah, I hear that too.
I'll bash 'em.
What I really like is when because people seem to repost a lot of things on there.
It's more
And-
like a V thread that is censored than anything else, in my opinion.
Damn it, Amumu, stop.
What I really like is when people actually post things from their own games.
Oh yeah.
Like when we had the Civilization thread up just recently, I thought that was really cool. Just people's own experiences with games. That's like really what the group was started for. That's what I like to see, just because it's cool, you know, when I get to see not just memes and whatever, but people actually talking about their experiences in games and like, oh guys, check this out. This was a really cool moment that I had in this game, and
Well,
I really...
like Justine Lancaster posting the acapella music thing. I've always been a big fan of voice acting and of music, and it's nice to know that other people value that as well.
Yeah, I also think she has a lot of valuable opinions. That's another thing that really counts.
I really want to
if
play.
if you can't post your own feelings about something, then like at least give like some valuable opinions on some other stuff that might be going on in the world. Like with the Gamergate thing, I think Justine posted a really cool thing about. I don't think it was Anita Sarkeesian, but it was something related to that, and I really thought her opinion was cool.
I want to play Justine's Pyramid Head side scroller. Still waiting on that, Justine. Where's it at?
Oh, did she say she was coming out with that? I didn't even.
No, but
She
it
has
was
some.
there.
She has some stuff apparently that is relevant.
Yeah, she found some, and then
Shout out to Justine.
she found the sprites, I think, in one of her hard drives or something like that, and I
That's
just
really-
want to play it.
That'd be another interesting thing if we had some.
Developers in the game, like some indie developers, and we can just be the control group,
Yeah, no, that's exactly. What
Assuming direct control.
I was gonna say, if we had some indie developers on there, that'd be really like a cool forum to just have people, put their shit up, and then have kind of other people give constructive criticism and just kind of review it. I think that'd be awesome. And then we get like, yeah, gosh, poor Lee, Lee Song, like. She was such like an awesome poster on there, but she doesn't post much on there. I think she got really disillusioned with the group.
The last thing I heard was that her guy was back, and that was taking up most of her time.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can't fault her for that.
No, absolutely not.
Her guy.
Shout out to Lee Fisher.
Oh.
Lee Song Goodall Fisher. One of the admins on there.
Get a load of this, moron.
To jump back to the story thing we were talking about, I know I've made a joke of this game quite a few times, but in my serious opinion, I think the writing is fantastic, and even the customizability in your, while limited, it's pretty good. As Lauren the Amazon Princess. I think it's great because you start out as this slave, and you're shunned, and you're treated like shit, and all of this. But as the game goes on, the main character develops a relationship with the Amazon Princess, and you even have romantic choices to make, and there are quite a few characters with their own different personalities. Although, like Mass Effect and all of that stuff, you can kind of determine their personality right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm unfamiliar, so I recuse myself from that discussion.
He's talking about like. He bought it as a fucking joke, like on Steam, because he's like, "Oh, haha, Lauren the Amazon Princess." It's like, Lauren, But then I guess you actually started playing it and it was decent.
No, I bought it because I thought it would be a cool game, and it happened to have your name in it.
What do you feel about Ship Sailors Extremes?
That game is awful
let's-
and should be removed from Steam.
Ladies and gentlemen, I
Guys,
bought
I'm gonna die.
Ship Simulator Extremes for Schaefer on his birthday, I believe it was.
Yes.
And me, Schaefer, and Eric actually decided to play it all together. And we tried to take a ship from the San Francisco Bay Area up to our hometown in Mendocino County. And my God, was it a disaster. Just imagine, like, the three of us on a ship together. No experience of, like, nautical anything.
How do we start the boat?
That was pretty much the whole game. I think we managed to get out of the bay.
No,
And then,
well,
like,
we
Well, we
restarted,
restarted it
with
to
a
a
speedboat.
rowboat.
Yeah, it was a rowboat.
That was our solution because we could not figure out how to make a cruise ship work. We'll never know. Simple solutions.
Another story thing
This
is
Nunu needs to get away from here.
I've recently gotten back onto the wagon of WoW, and it's in a really great spot right now. But I've been following the storyline quite loosely over the years, and more spoilers ahead. I know these two have no intention to play WoW again, really. But you guys are familiar. Well, not Eric, but Lauren. You're familiar with Thrall and all of that, right?
well, Eric played it for
I like how you just assume that I don't.
Oh
know.
well, I
Thanks,
assumed
Schaefer.
I didn't know you played. Did you play it?
Yeah, me and Eric used to
Oh.
be the OGs of World of Warcraft back in the day.
Oh well, you guys are familiar with Thrall, then,
Shuffle
right?
Puck Cafe. Shout out to FSR.
Well, Thrall makes this guy the new war chief, and the new war chief does all of this stupid ass shit, and the war chief becomes the main villain because he's clearly gone insane with power. And then in this current expansion, Warlords of Draenor, shout out to Warlords of Draenor.
That's not a person.
You're not a person. Shut up.
Oh,
We're all doing shout outs. I don't have anyone to shout out to. Anyways, in this
shout out
expansion,
to the other two guys in this podcast.
it's all ended because Thrall beats the literal shit out of Garrosh, and
If
The literal
I
shit.
watch the cinematic and he doesn't literally crap at the end of the game, then this is not only false advertising, but I'll be mad at you.
if you watch the cinematic, you will regret that you did not have popcorn to watch it with because it's great.
Crap.
I recommend
Getting
anyone
mad.
watching the cinematics who's familiar with any part of the WoW.
Well, Blizzard's
storyline.
legendary for their cinematics. That's for
Yeah.
cheesy.
Well, they've definitely gone higher in quality since I cleared ICC again the other day, just going through it for some gear, and I watched the cutscene, and goddamn, was the quality just like
You know who had really good cutscenes for their time?
you.
Diablo.
You know what? Yeah.
That game was
Well, again, he
Ah,
said Blizzard,
shit.
and it's
I'm
Blizzard.
dead.
You know what, Fiddle? I'm getting real sick of your shit. Interrupt me again, and I'll fucking thrash you.
Fuck.
I'm gonna do that anyways.
Against like the trifecta
Don't
of
worry, he's
ass
terrified.
beating right now. No ass beating. Damn, I can't believe I got away. Thought I was bones.
Oh man, that Zonya's right there.
And did so many
That
things.
was mildly irritating for a whole 2.5 seconds.
Where you going, boy? You ain't going nowhere. That's where you going.
Shout out to Miles on VGF.
Good old Miles. I knew him from back in the day, Shuffle Pod Cafe.
No, he's like, if there's one person in that group who's like, I don't know, probably cares more than many people, it's probably him.
I don't
Miles
like
is
that
good.
assumption.
Miles is good people. I like
Yeah,
Miles.
he's always trying to like get things together, and like he hasn't been doing it much anymore. But I remember when he first became an admin, like he was trying to like start events and stuff, and he was just real cool and neat guy. And
Unfortunately, with the difference in consoles and computers, we couldn't do anything.
yeah,
serious.
I mean, I kind of knew that was like it wasn't gonna work, but I really like it when people try to organize things like that.
Well, if
One
we
thing
do, if we know it, one thing we could do is everyone but Eric could participate in this, a Diablo 2 playthrough where the fastest group of 4.
Yeah, that sounds all inclusive. Thanks.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe if you got a computer with more than, kilobytes of RAM.
Hey, dude, I got my floppy disk, and I don't need to take any of your shit.
Anyways, what you're saying, Lauren? I interrupted you.
It doesn't necessarily have to be gaming. One thing I wanted to do was just kind of have like a tiny chat, like maybe a Skype session, or just a webcam session with everybody, and everybody can just be playing games, or if they don't want to do that, they can just chill out with a beer. And I usually drink when I play, so I think it'd be cool to like be able to see everybody from the group, and everybody's just like drinking and having a good.
We might be able to set up an IRC chat or something for that.
Yeah.
I think Skype would probably be the best, though.
Well, Skype's limited to 10 people, so.
Well, Tiny Chat is...
I can't imagine more than 10 people caring enough to do that, though, honestly.
Yeah.
At least not at the same time.
Well, that's what's cool about Tiny Chat. You can have a lot of people. It's not that distracting. It's...
Distraction.
So yeah, that'd be cool.
Does Eric have all of the kills? No, Lauren does. Jeez.
I'm getting bashed.
Get good at CS.
Yeah, damn.
I was also going for Dragon. Hi.
Who else do we have? We got Robert, and who else on the group posts a lot?
The brothers Bazzoli.
Yeah, they do a lot of stuff.
Murr posts quite often. Isaac Youngblood, shoutouts.
Yeah,
Jeez,
Isaac, man.
That went way farther than I thought.
Isaac and his loyalty to PC, which I can dig, but it pisses a lot of people off.
I try to not get mad, but secretly I'm angry because I don't have a good PC.
Where are they going? Where are they going? Oh.
Yeah, he ain't getting away. Yeah, I don't know. I forgot who it was, but somebody got real mad about Isaac's continuous PC posts. It doesn't bother me. Like, I'm happy at least someone's having a conversation rather than just, reposting. But
Yeah.
We cannot lose a singular tower.
I would like more personal favorite references.
more what?
More personal favorite
yeah.
references.
Well, more just discussions. Like people talking about like. I really like it when people.
Shaver, you had one job, and that was to not let bot fall, you clown.
Oh, we lost the tower. God damn it.
Surrender.
When somebody has a post on VGF that like gets to like 50, 60, 70 replies, it's really cool because it means people are passionate about something in there. And usually it's a video game, but it can be about anything, really. I don't think we've had any super polarized arguments on VGF.
Gamergate was a huge one.
Yeah.
We everybody tended to be on the same size, but it was still a passionate discussion. I don't engage in those types of discussions, really.
Well, it's kind of futile on the internet, but I like to think that on Facebook, with everybody knowing each other, it's a little more constructive. I don't know if it actually is, but I like to think it is.
That tower bashed me. Oh, snap. Oh, God.
God damn, that was a... They bamboozled.
You literally did nothing but watch.
Well, they had two...
There
like,
goes Eric
giant
blaming
CCs.
us.
Weren't even there, Schaefer. I don't
Dog,
need your
that
shit.
was all you.
Shaver.
What?
Okay.
We got...
Okay.
Yeah.
Help me bash them.
Get back.
Get Nunu. He's a little squishier and he can get away fast. Never mind, get Warwick. Screw it.
Or Wickington. Look how he kills people's pappy.
Pretty sure he didn't kill your pappy.
I don't know, man.
I missed
I
my
should have
yell.
played Graves, the janitor.
I should have played Vladimir.
Shout out to Cholera Ninja.
Eric just gets quiet when I bring up Vladimir.
Hey, I like him when he's on my team. I don't like him any other time.
Fiddle, please keep. Did you see that shit?
I saw all of it.
That was stupid. He's like, no.
That was the funniest shit I've seen all game.
He bamboozled me.
He just stood there looking at it.
Just
Like,
literally
no.
staring at. No, I'm done. That was
Oh god,
stupid.
that was funny.
Stop feeding, Eric.
Better not. Give monies.
Get Moni's plus.
That was the goddamn funniest thing.
That was
Fiddle
so
was staring
annoying.
at it.
Just
No,
not
not
stepping
doing
in
that.
that. I think it does more damage the farther I go. I can't
Oh
remember.
shit. Oh fuck.
Evac. Unfortunately, this only makes me go fast when I'm walking towards a champion. Go to shop. Gonna get the brutalizer. Dragon should be 2 minutes. We can probably duo Baron. He's pretty weak
Yeah,
at this
I'm
point.
down for that.
Heading there now
Ah,
after blue.
shit. I was building up to another Warmogs for no fucking reason.
Does Black Cleaver give attack speed still? No. Okay. Alrighty then. You know, maybe some attack speed would be great.
Now every time I see that, I'm just gonna think of Fiddlesticks staring at it like, no,
No, not doing that. It's just the stupidest thing. It's like as soon as I cast, he's like, nope, done.
not looking into that ever.
No, I couldn't pop. Okay, I got it. Good. Eric, why don't you let one of us tank? Anyone but
Why don't
you.
you shut up?
Oh.
Why'd you do that?
Well, you have to back because you're a moron.
Oh, unless I got chicken.
I'm a doctor too. I don't have to say anything.
Damn, look at our minions just fucking wrecking. We don't even have to do a goddamn thing.
Just chill. I'm gonna go kill Dragon.
Dargan.
I just gave all the minions there the Baron buff.
Oh. Have fun.
Just machinations there.
The maddest AI. I dare. Oh. Oh no, an inhibitor's coming up soon. I think it's middle. It must be slain. Time to go mobile. Nailed it.
Hacks, they can move after the game ends.
They try to blow you up after
For
the game
hackers.
ends.
Shit. How long was that, how long are we recording to right now?
About I have no idea.
Some amount of time.
Yeah, I don't know where I can check the time. Let me see here.
Well, anyway, that's probably good enough for tonight. That was fun.
I need to shrink this. But I can't. Well, that's slightly frustrating. Oh wait, I can do it at the top, I think. Maybe not. Oh well. Yeah, I'll just call it there then.